There are three types of change leadership effectively in organizations. There are sponsors. Sponsors are people that have line authority for change. They're people that lead the change and are responsible for the outcomes of change in their area. They could be very senior people like the chief executive, or they could be frontline supervisors, managers. Agents are what many people are probably on the call. You're charged with planning and implementing change, orchestrating change in your organizations. The last type of change leadership that exists in organizations is informal leadership. It's to do with people that we call influencers. For those of you who know the book Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, you'll know he talks about three types of influence that exist in society. We could probably list 3, 4, 5 types of influence in organizations, but increasingly, as organizations have become more virtual, organizations have become more matrix, this informal leadership in organizations, which may be driven by people's expertise, by the connections they have, by their power of advocacy, have become very, very important. And our task is really to identify those leaders, to identify where they sit in the organization and how they relate. So people that come on our programs learn a technique called change network mapping that does that. But it doesn't really matter if you use that or not, although we would think it's the best thing, of course. It's really, really critical to identify those people and identify their roles specifically. Because the issue is, if we give people the wrong roles in change, we get poor results. And so it's very clear to us that sponsors are always responsible for the what, the who, the when, and the where in organizations. It's really important to set up a sponsorship structure where those people who have the real power in the organization take responsibility for the change. The agent's job is always to be responsible for the how. And I would think, Ivan might comment about this later on, but as I've seen changes in organizations over the last 25 years, of those that have gone wrong, and of course there are many, unfortunately, this dynamic of giving change agents inadequate power to do their jobs is a fundamental cause of change failure. We have to find a way to direct that power to the sponsors and have agents in a kind of advisory, driving, words I'm seeking, but not being solely responsible for the change. The influencer's job, of course, it's not really a job, it's what we want them to do, is really to drive informal power to sponsors and to agents. And if we orchestrate change correctly, we're trying to get those informal influencers to actually to advocate to sponsors, to help agents connect sponsors, and to make the change work well.